Pry open your third eye with me, your big-headed know-it-all, polymath Scott Spackey, and guests. Change your mind, change your life. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspackey.com and life-mind.com. Are you ready?
Find me where the ocean collides with the sun.
My name's Rabbi Eli Kohen, and hello to those of you in the room who I think I know everybody here now. So welcome. This is a unique opportunity. I know that Gary and Lila and I have spoken about Tarot in the past and how there's a strong interest that they have. I know a couple people I was speaking to online have a strong interest, including Nishima. And when Scott came along and wanted to offer this, I go, hey, this is fantastic. So thank you, Scott. Scott's newly in our community, so it's a big deal. So yay, there's a little applause for Scott. And I'm going to mostly stay out of it, but one of the things that I would assert or put forward is I have a lot of background in traditional normative Jewish understanding of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. So there may be places where it overlaps or not overlaps with what Scott has to offer. So it'll be interesting to see that if it comes up in any way. So I want to thank you, Scott, for offering to do this workshop. I'm going to turn over to you and have fun.
Thank you, I will.
All right.
Let's all have some fun.
All right.
Knowledge is power, power is knowledge. The invitation to do this from Eli and from all of you is kind of sacred to me because this is kind of a bucket list item for me because I began presenting on tarot in 2005. The next night, I presented on Kabbalah and Tree of Life because the whole point of me doing tarot workshops was to introduce people to Kabbalah and Tree of Life. So that was kind of the entry point. That's why I was doing it, and vice versa. I figured on the steps I was trying to do is introduce people to these profound systems of spiritual development. And so began in 2005. And you could say that kind of a dream for me would be doing just this, sitting in sanctuary such as this with my Jewish community and presenting to you that may know more than I do. I don't know. I'm used to being the smartest guy in the room on these subjects, so I might not be anymore. So it's a real treat for me. So thank you. In addition, while I put this presentation together, the hardest part, the challenge, was what not to include. Kabbalah and Tree of Life, its app, is so profound, so layered, so useful, has so many topics, so many areas to use and put to use that what do I leave out? Because we could be here all night and on and on and on. We could be here for eternity to discuss the layers and the value of it. So that was the challenge, is what to not include, not what to include. So let's begin. To know, to dare, to will, to be silent. Now, why am I evoking an ancient Egyptian magical phrase that's called the powers of the Sphinx in a sanctuary where people were enslaved by these people for so long? Well, let's keep in mind, let's go back a little bit. For a long time, Patriarch Yosef, the Jewish people were free. And not only free, but as vizier, he was they're not only free, but he was the head guy. If anybody had more power than the Pharaoh, it was the vizier. And let's continue to go back to the patriarch of Abraham, who becomes Abraham, after he meets and takes initiation from Melchizedek, the high priest. This is a rather mysterious figure. Where does he come from? What is the high priest of? When the covenant is just beginning, what is the high priest of? So this magical phrase, the powers of the Sphinx, which date farther back than any of our traditional lore, that evokes that priesthood, those ceremonies, those initiations. In the underground stream, which is something of a society and culture of mystics throughout the world that I'm part of, it's an unofficial membership. And we all know each other by certain phrases when we're traveling through the world. And we identify one another with certain things that we know and understand. And within that society, Melchizedek is often referred to as the priest of On. Whilst Egypt was kind of known for its polytheism, there was an undercurrent, an underlying monotheism going on the entire time for a long time. And the Judaism and Jewish culture is at the core of that. So it goes way back than even our own traditions follow. So I evoke this because it is a magical phrase that fits for tonight's topics and content. 77793. I'm not going to go into a lot of the exact science and details of these mystical axioms and codes and things that are here. One of the things that I'm enjoying so much about reintegrating into my Jewish culture and heritage is that through most traditions and religions and spiritual paths, there's a separation between the mystical and the spiritual and religious. And Judaism always embraces the two together. And I really love that. That's so important to me. So 777, in a nutshell, is the numerical vibration for the Hebrew alphabet. 93 is what it kind of becomes. That it means, which is synonymous with agape, which is love, and not just human love, but spiritual love, a more profound love, an octave of love. So this is kind of setting the pace as we go forward with these things. As I mentioned, the underground stream. Globally, we have a culture of people, a society of people that have been around for thousands and thousands of years that preserve and protect the mystical, the magical, the science. When it wasn't considered magical, it was considered a science. The understanding of nature and the forces at work. The underground stream is an elite society of people that, again, are there to preserve and protect the truths, capital T, so that they don't get lost in history and destroyed in the Library of Alexandria. And when cultures are genocide and wiped out, we preserve and protect them so that someday they're preserved and to be able to be brought to the surface again when people are ready for them. So what is Tree of Life? And we're in Tarot and Tree of Life tonight. What is it? The Tree of Life is the device, the app of Kabbalah. It is the tool. Tarot is the pictorial version. You can see one image I have down there is a GPS map. Tree of Life is a roadmap. It's a blueprint to guide you, to find your way, that you can use for direction, very clear, precise direction, to go from point A to point B and on and on. So you can see my little app, little modification. I got the Tree of Life down in the corner. I got our mug and David there. So what is it? The Tree of Life is the device, the app of Kabbalah. Tarot is the pictorial version of it. What's its purpose? Here's a few items. A system for developing spiritual consciousness. That's one. Prognostication is a side effect. Most people automatically connect tarot to prognostication, fortune telling. It does that, but that's just a coincidence. You can use Kabbalah, numerology, all the mystical tools that I use, what I call mystical modalities, to do just that. But I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm a spiritual trainer and help people guide spiritual development to be able to bloom, grow, and develop themselves spiritually. Prognostication is a mere side effect. It happens to do it, but that's not what it was designed for. That's not what it's meant to do. It just happens to do it. So naturally, as materialistic people populate the world, that's what they're most interested in. They want the app. They want the easy stuff. It is a roadmap of existence and being, from pre-inception to manifestation. The process of creation is within the Tree of Life. We're going to be breaking that down. We're going to be going further, so I'm going to go into detail right now. And reverse. From inception to manifestation, from manifestation to inception. It's the entire process, the reverse and back and forth. A roadmap, an instruction manual from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness, and vice versa, and reverse. We're confined within the material world. We do aspire to be pure spiritual beings, indeed. but we are confined in the material world. So we want to use our spirituality to break free from material consciousness. We can use our material consciousness and our material actions to break free of them and transcend and go beyond them. The Tree of Life provides with the roadmap an instruction manual, literally an instruction manual. Then when I first clued into it, that's what I loved about it. It is a detailed instruction manual, like what I used to use Thomas Guide maps. It also serves as a tool for managing all aspects of life. Similar to the paths of yoga and the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. And the Vedas, much like Tree of Life and Kabbalah, addresses every area of life. Family, politics, economy, business, everything you want to need to know. Now, why would a spiritual tool provide you information and access to things that help you in a material sense? Because the better you can manage your material life, the better you can manage the luxury of managing your spiritual life. If you're suffering or deprived, hard to focus on your spirituality. We want to create an excess of material comfort so we have the luxury to be able to focus on what truly matters, the vitality of sort of spiritual consciousness. Oh, it did first time, first click. What's in a name? And I found the secret why too. Now I mention this because, again, being in this group tonight, I'm going to say things wrong, pronounce them differently. That's going to be happening all the time. I can see all over there on his phone. He's maybe making notes, but to correct me on, make notes on, that's fine. And I'm encouraging that. So, because I'm going to be pronouncing things the way that I have been for a long time. So what's in a name? Kabbalah. There's the one with the Q, then the K-A-B-B-L-A, K-A-B-L-A-H, then our Hebrew letters. Kof, Beth, Lamed, He. Okay? The back of head. So these are the letters. What's in a name? The way you pronounce it, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Hebrew has some flexibility. Because of the lack of vowels, we have some interpretation, we have some latitudes. And yet, it's also very precise. The latitudes aren't necessarily, hey, you can do whatever you want. It has more to do with, it has so many different meanings. You don't need to confine it to a simple this or that. It can be this and that, and it often is this and that. So these letters, the Kof, Beth, Lamed, and He. Kof is back of head. Beth is house. Lamed typically is to learn, but it's also to teach, to transmit. You've got to include the opposite. He, God, the God power. We look at the sequence of this. That which is given and received is learn and teach. Back of head, you can see this image I have here. I'm referring to the crown chakra, the illumination. We see all these Renaissance images of saints and holy people with halos. This is the illumination. This is because when enlightenment, illumination occurs spiritually, your consciousness expands, literally expands in a physical, sensational way. So it ain't no mistake that these particular letters spell this particular word with these particular meanings. To say that Kabbalah means to teach, I think limits it. It is to teach. It's also to receive, because what can you teach without receiving? And when I teach, I learn a lot. So when I teach, I'm learning, and I am receiving. Again, the back of head. This is where our soul enters the body, travels through our subtle energy bodies, through our subtle energy, and gives us life. So all of these factors are contained within this esoteric name and system. Nothing is missed. The fontanelle, the pineal gland, and again, transmission and reception. Let's take all those into account. What is in a name? Tarot, Torah. And I just thought about this morning, how about the Tao? Torah implies the way, the teaching, the correct way. It's all in there. Tarot is just a word that we have for a deck of cards, technically. And you can see I put a red line through tarocchi, which is the Italian Because if you Google it, it's going to tell you that the word tarot comes from the Italian word tarocchi, which means something about like playing cards. No, that's not it at all. It is tarot. It is Torah. Right to left, left to right. And again, I threw it in the Tao in there too because the similar meanings. My perception is that I struggle to accept that mystical paths are the sects, offshoots of religions. I believe often it's the opposite, that religions emerge from mystical paths. Mystical paths are how we get union with the divine. Religion is how we worship, honor, and follow the rules and live by. Both very important. If I have to choose one or the other, I might choose the mystical path because I want union with my divine beloved. So the names are important in many ways. Again, what I'm loving so much about connecting with my Jewish heritage is that there's such an appreciation, an intellectual honoring of the nuances, that nothing is taken for granted, that every little detail, so-and-so begat so-and-so begat so-and-so, what is there, like 50 pages of that? But every one of those is a code. Every one of those has a message in it. From the breakdowns of the letters to the formula, the numerology in it, everything has a formula to it. There's so many ways you can appreciate it. The surface and all the layers down. So let's get into the origins. When I say origins, I'm not referring to the origins of Kabbalah because it has no origin. It is a primordial, eternal truth. True and perfect mystical paths and tools are just that. They're primordial. They exist in their own space, within the ether, within the Akashic records, you could say. They exist within their own space all the time, the exact same way. They never change because they don't need to. We can access them, and mystics do just that. And what we have here in the first top image is the Jewish mystic, a Kabbalist in some remote underground sanctuary, studying and practicing Kabbalah. Then, of course, once that gets found out, nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. So it went underground to avoid persecution. The invention of tarot in the 13th century, even as back as towards the 12th, studying Kabbalah, and so the tarot became the rhetorical version of this for two reasons. One, to avoid persecution. The Spanish Inquisition comes around and says, what are you doing? I say, oh, we're nothing, we're just playing cards. We're having a good time. We're not doing anything wrong. We're not Jews. We're not studying Kabbalah, nothing like that. We're just playing cards. Nice and innocent. In addition, the bonus is that also illiterates could then learn Kabbalah and Tree of Life. People that couldn't read, everything is there within the images. So tarot is the pictorial version of the Tree of Life. They're indispensable. Kabbalah comes first. It exists independently without it, without tarot. Tarot does not exist without Kabbalah. Yeah, you can go get the kitty cat tarot deck from Barnes & Noble all you want. The point is the concept exists because of Kabbalah. They're indistinguishable. Arthur E. Waite is the Hermetic and Kabbalistic mystic that designed the Rider-Waite tarot deck that we're also familiar with. Rider is simply the manufacturing company. They're simply the gaming company that produced it and sold it. The artist is Pamela, and I can't remember her name because you know what keeps coming to my mind when I say Pamela's Corson. That's who is it? Coleman Smith. Thank you, Coleman. Thank you, Chloe, my rescuer, Pamela Coleman Smith, who I have a very strange relationship because I swear every time I look at her, ever since I first saw her photo, I know her. I've past life with her. I have very serious past life regression with her. So Arthur E. Waite is the mystic that designed the tarot deck that we mostly know with the Rider-Waite. Pamela Coleman Smith is the artist that followed his direction. He told her what to make, and she made it. And so I've been studying tarot for a long, long time, many, many decks. Nothing even comes close. We're going to be using that for whatever discussion we have with tarot because to this day, I'm a purist. I'm an old school, original gangster mystic. And if it doesn't have the Kabbalah, whatever we want to say it, if it doesn't have those exact elements in there, for me, it's a waste of time. It's a cute thing. It's a toy. So the origins are just that. Mystics went underground because they were being persecuted, being killed. So they created a card deck to hide what they were doing. And also found the benefit is that illiterates could learn it as well. And then it was preserved.
When was the weight deck created?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any idea when the weight
Yeah,
deck was?
turn of the century, I think.
19th?
Yeah, Chloe, can you do a quick check on that? When was the right one? And I kind of knew it off the top of my head, but I think it's 18. I think it could be as late as 18 some, but I think it's turn of the century. That's when the kind of the whole Neptunian and Uranus mystical movement was taking place. That's when the shift occurred here for spirituality and mysticism. So she'll get back to me. She'll shout it out to me, I think. Right, Chloe? She's probably looking it up. Or not. 1909.
Thank you.
Okay, around turn of the century. Thanks for the question. So the pre-origins, that's how it came to be and began a movement. The pre-origins, well, we're going to work backwards. Right now, it's in Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and social media. It's a very trendy topic, tarot. Kabbalah too, very trendy topic. Madonna popularized Kabbalah. I don't know how authentic what she was doing was. I don't know. I didn't get into it. But so we have that current time. Again, Neptune, Uranus. The discovery of these two planets, which are mysterious planets, they're gas giants, and these two planets activated a polarizing shift in our consciousness on this planet. The mystical movement began. These secret societies, many of them very profound. The Masons, they were been around, but it got much more, much more momentum. The Ordo Templi Orientis, which I'm a member of, several others. And we go back to the Enlightenment age, 12th and 13th century medieval. Again, the Kabbalists going underground to avoid persecution. Go back even further, Hermetic and alchemy. Now we're getting back to ancient Greece and even Egypt. Hermeticism and alchemy. Goshen in Egypt. Let's not forget Goshen, that there were tribes of Israel, tribes of Jews up in Goshen the entire time. There's a vacation spot up there. And so this is integrating. It's around, it's taking place this entire time. Go back even further. Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga. I don't like to say yoga. You see it's in parentheses. The yoga is the Sanskrit pronunciation. We go back even further. It's primordial. We get to Ein Sof hour. Ein Sof and Ein. The nothingness, the infinite, the abyss, all of that. That's its origins, pre-origins. Now let's talk about some parallels. Now, when I was a little boy, and grown-ups would ask you, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I know you used to say like a cowboy or a cop or a firefighter, fireman, and all that kind of stuff. And I was a smartass. I thought it was an annoying question. I thought it was very condescending to ask a kid the same question I ask every other kid. And so I would say, I want to be enlightened. Don't even know if I knew what it meant, but that's what I would say for two reasons. One, stop them in their tracks, get them to shut up, leave me alone, because I was a smartass. And second, because I had some type of past life memory that I was studying this before. Matter of fact, when I entered this life, I was already aware of these kind of concepts, pursuing them. Like somebody interrupted me, and then suddenly I was this baby. I was pretty angry about it. So the parallels. We have the caduceus here. The caduceus is the chakra system, the kundalini power, the path of mystical powers to become enlightened, to expand your consciousness. We're talking about an absolute event that occurs. On the other side, I have alchemy in the 7 stages. Look at the parallels, 7 chakras, rising up to the Ida and the Pingala and the Sushumna to take primordial energy and spiritual awareness and drive up the physical and subtle body system, to enter into the consciousness, into the brain, causing an event. Alchemy does the same thing. 7 chakras, 7 stages of the 7 paths towards enlightenment, 7 of Buddhism, 8 the Ashtanga Yoga. The Kabbalah has the 7 levels. There's 10 Sephiroth, but there's 7 levels. And alchemy has the 7 stages. I am a certified master alchemist. Put a lot of work into that. Almost blew up a couple houses as I was doing my alchemy work. A lot of fun. I'm much better at spiritual alchemy than I am physical alchemy. So these systems are the same. They teach the exact same thing in their own dialect. I often would say that these systems are identical. Same language, different dialect. They teach a path and a process to become spiritually conscious, to develop. Now, I'm not going to define quite yet what spiritual consciousness is. We may already know. So once again, I mean, I pull this off Google. This is how common feature this is, that many people are aware of this, that this is the overlay of the tree of life over the human form. This mirrors the Kundalini Yoga path towards enlightenment, to be able to attain and to transcend material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. That's the point. Now, once again, as I said earlier, I give you a bullet list of items that Kabbalah and Tarot and Tree of Life and things are for. I'm focusing mostly, because that's what I'm interested in, is the spiritual consciousness. That's what we're focusing on mostly today. So again, it addresses every area of life if you want to choose to do that. We're going to be practicing some of that. We're going to have some fun with that. So the parallels are there. I think the beauty of that, the poetry, that all these systems are telling us the same thing, which is more evidence that they're true, they're eternal, and they're one thing. Different dialects, same language. Now, let's transition for a moment. Me and the tree, as above and so below. When through my mystical studies and practices, and you see some of the images here, through ceremonial magician, alchemy, and when I began to look more deeply and more intimately into Kabbalah and Tree of Life, what I loved so much about it was it appealed to my intellect. It wasn't just metaphor and analogy. It was gorgeous. It was challenging. It took some brain power. And yet, you don't need to be an intellect to benefit from it. It's not required. It works on every level. But what appealed to me as a big-headed snob, that I loved that intellectually challenged me and kind of challenged me to that. And again, the beauty of it that anyone could follow and understand it. The tarot is the pictorial version. You don't need to be, you can be illiterate and study Kabbalah through it and use it properly. But I liked the challenge. I liked the nuance. I liked the subtlety. I liked how intellectual it was, and yet still remaining so completely pure, straightforward, and simple. That duality. The Star of David, that symbol there, as above, so below. We're going to get into some of that too, the sacred geometry. The polarization, the polarities, the dualities of things. This is what we want to be able to focus on. Nothing does this better for us than the tree. So there's me in the tree. How about you in the tree? No matter what denominational you are, no matter what religion you follow or spiritual path you are drawn to, as I'm mentioning, same language, different dialects. They're teaching you the same things. You can extract the same formula from them if you want to apply them. Take your pick. See the unity in them. We talk often here with Eli bringing up this, rather than being separate from other religions and other faiths and other cultures, that we're all one people. Let's appreciate and honor that. And so we can do just that. I've had amazing mystical experiences in all the faiths. Some of them in temples, some of them in synagogues, some of them in why am I forgetting the name for the Muslim mosque? Thank you. Thank you. All of these things. We need to look, we need to pay attention and see the unity in all of them, teaching the same thing in their own dialects. So you in the tree, it's about intention. What do you want from the Tree of Life? What do you want from Kabbalah? What do you want from Tarot? I've given you a list of things that it can do and what it does. What do you want from it? Intention is everything. In our worldly laws, we have punishment and rewards for certain actions and consequences. Intention is everything. Murder, for example, if you do it intentionally, the punishment is much more severe than by accident. Intention is everything, especially in our spiritual development and our spiritual practice. What you feel from your heart takes you beyond just showing up and going through the emotions and actions. Everything we talk about through this workshop and everything we do spiritually, it's about our intention. Can we involve our heart, not just our intellect? Can we marry the two together? Can we bring the duality from being separate to one thing, to union? So you and the tree is that. As we talk about these things this evening, I'd like you to consider your intention. What do you want from Kabbalah? What do you want from Tree of Life? Again, I've given you a list of items of what it can address and how it can clearly address them and give you tools to improve them. Which do you want? What do you want? And why? The most important part of that question is why. I want to be God realized, but why? I want to be in love. Why? I want to have children. Why? Until you know why, on a personal, intimate level, you're wasting your time. We all are familiar with the fact that passion is a motivator. We do our best work when we care about what we're doing. We can do a lot of mindless things, washing the dishes, mow the lawn, whatever. We don't need a lot of focus and concentration and involvement and passion for that, because those are automatic and they're not that important to us. They're just chores. But the things that mean the most to us, being family, being a parent, being a child, being a lover, being a spiritualist, being a servant of the divine. Get involved. Explore your passion. Know your intention. Be intimate with that relationship. Once you do that, your mystical and spiritual journey has more than begun. And until then, it hasn't begun. It's not official yet. Discover your intention. I always want to skip through these. These are always in there. This is about me. All right, here's some of my clinical practice. Now, when I talk about me, it's not, I feel a bit of an obligation. I want people mostly to know my credentials, so to speak, because I want them to know that I'm not just some guy that's on YouTube and on Twitter or whatever that's just spouting off stuff, which is 90% of the content that's out there. When we don't know, we assume, if somebody knows more than us, we assume they're correct. That's not always the case at all. We do know that. And so when I offer my credentials, my history, it's because I want people to have confidence that what I'm presenting is accurate, that you can definitely verify and look it up. Go down the rabbit hole and look it up and verify. I encourage that. So when I offer any credentials and facts about me, it's because I want people to know that I'm not just coming off half-cocked and making things up for my own version. I'm presenting authentic things that are true and verifiable. So this has more to do with my clinical work that I've been involved with for since 2005 in private practice. It's an honor to be treating people for physical problems, for emotional and mental issues and problems, and self-improvement. And that's how I began. I began by simply wanting to teach and guide people spiritually. But that was kind of my entryway. And my practice was simply a way to get people in the door. And it worked very well for that, because people got to know me and started to trust me and have confidence in me, and that I could then take them from their material problems, self-improvement and growth, to spiritual concepts, to be part of that journey. People that came in and didn't have any interest in those kind of things. And did we watch that evolve, be a part of that? That's kind of what the intention was. Now, the irony, the sad irony, I guess, is that while my practice was created simply as a footstone, as a stepping stone to spirituality for people, it became so big and popular that I was working 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I could not stop because there was always people that needed more help. I couldn't turn them away. So my spirituality and teaching became more of a side thing when I was hoping the mystical, the clinical things would be a side thing. So in those areas, I have students, even online with us today, that refer to me as their spiritual trainer, and I like that term. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a guru. I'm not a master. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not a priest. I'm none of those things. I don't have those kind of credentials myself. I'm a spiritual trainer. Like when you go to the gym and you get a trainer to teach you how to work out, how to do the motions and exercises better, the ones that fit for you, what your goals are, and then they motivate you. They fill in the blanks to help you go from where you are to where you want to be. And that's what I try to offer people in my spiritual development training and classes, is to help them go from wherever they are to where they want to be. And I've worked with Jews, I've worked with mystics, I've worked with Christians, I've worked with Muslims, I've worked with Mormons, I've worked with all different types, and they're all different. And I love all the work because we're all interested in mostly just one thing, a divine and intimate relationship with God, as we understand God to be. And that's all that matters. And as I sat in a mosque, I remembered at that time, as I sat in a mosque in London, I kind of wandered there. I was kind of wandering around London. I had like 5 hours to kill before catching a plane. I was going to India, actually, to the ashram. And I'm wandering around London, killing time, having a good time, and I hear this music in the sky. I'm like, what's that music? And I start following it. And I'm just walking along, and it's beckoning me. And I realize it's a call to prayer at a mosque. And it's so beautiful, and I feel drawn there. So I walk in, and I'm welcomed. I take off my shoes. People are, oh, you put them right here. Come on right in here. They're being very friendly, and I'm just walking in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, I'm sitting on the floor in this mosque, thinking, I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Hindu. I'm on my way to India. I'm a Hindu, and I'm on my way to India. And I'm sitting there and thinking, in this room, everybody in this room has one thing in common. We all love and want to serve God. And that moved me so much that I started to weep, silently and quietly, discreetly, and I had a tap on my shoulder. And it was the imam. Excuse me, could you come with me, please? And I'm like, oh, what did I do? He took me back to his office. We sat and talked for the next hour and a half. He gave me copies of the Quran. We didn't talk about our religion. We talked about loving God and serving God. We had that in common. It was absolutely gorgeous. So let's get back to a tree of life. These are the elements. Let's take a brief pause so I can offer you something. The Cosmic Consciousness book series are workbooks made for your spiritual development and growth. Each workbook gives you the true knowledge, the actual origins, and step-by-step instructions and exercises to put your spiritual systems into practice. They're detailed, have illustrations, and are excellent for the beginner as well as the adept. There are nearly a dozen workbooks available in print and in ebooks. Cosmic Consciousness Volume 1 teaches you the science and the meta-science of how consciousness works and how to elevate it. As above, so below, the universe and beyond. A journey through the origins of the universe, physics and metaphysics. The complete philosophy of yoga, a path to higher consciousness. A comprehensive guide through all 8 branches of Ashtanga Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. This complete guide includes step-by-step illustrated instructions for yoga asanas, lifestyle, meditations, and how to attain the holy grail of consciousness, self, soul, spiritual, and divine realization. Tarot, a symbolic exploration of mind and spirit, covers the true origins of tarot as a pictorial version of Kabbalah's Tree of Life and includes detailed interpretation of all 78 of the major and minor arcana cards, readings, and how to use tarot as it was originally intended, a device for your spiritual development. Kabbalah, a mystical journey on the Tree of Life, a full color workbook with pull-out sheets for easy reference as you learn the true origins and practical use for the Tree of Life as a roadmap for spiritual illumination and manifestation. Tarot and the Tree of Life, special limited edition. This workbook combines both the Tarot and Tree of Life workbooks into a single volume with an added section called The Bridge. This brand new limited edition has a unique English format for Tarot and Hebrew format for the Tree. It is fully illustrated in full color. Other workbooks in the Cosmic Consciousness series include Alchemy, Numerology with Sacred Geometry, Tao and Zen with the I Ching, The True Origins and Paths of the World's Religions, Nature Religions, and Wicca, Ceremonial Magic and Hermetic Science, and others. To quote Teilhard de Chardin, I am not a human being having a spiritual experience. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Whether you are an advanced student of spiritual work or a beginner, these small but thorough workbooks will provide you all that is needed to have a more fulfilling spiritual experience. Why wait? You've waited long enough. For details, samples, and to order, go to life-mind.com. That's life-mind.com. So let's get back to a Tree of Life. These are the elements. Let me give you a little background on this particular map. of Tree of Life, I created this. Why? Because I could not find one that had every element in it. I found one that either had all the Sephiroth, the branches. It was always missing something. This one has it all: the Hebrew letter, the path, the numerical value, the Sephiroth, every bit of it. It's all on there in one place, and all the colors too. And I had to create that, and I will never let it go. I'm so happy for it. We're aligning because everyone else I found didn't have all that. So what we have here, as we go a little bit of a closer look, is just that. You can see, unfortunately, I used a blue font on that one on Bina, and you can't really see it, but you can see in a close-up view of this that the elements are all there. We have the number, we have the location on the tree, we have its Hebrew name, we have its tarot suit or cards that correspond to it. We have our elements, our astrological elements. Everything is there. We see the Hebrew letters and the Hebrew and the numerical values. Everything is there. Once again, providing that this thing does not miss a beat. It is a complete system. Everything you want to know, everything you want and need as a tool for spiritual development is within the Tree of Life. It's a complete one-stop, one-shop, fits-all resource for whatever it is you want to become. You want to become a better human being, better father, better mother, better businessman. It's all within the tree. You want to develop your spirituality, your consciousness. You want to become divine conscious. You want to have union with divine consciousness. It's all in there. It all provides that. It is said in the garden there was the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And you notice how I said there of good and evil, and I put a big black line through that. Tree of life and tree of knowledge, and that's all he wrote. Now, underground stream sailor as myself, I don't know what everyone else is going to feel about this, but I'm going to take the chance. The of good and evil was added on later. The concept of good and evil is irrelevant when we talk about the divine aspect. That's a human concept. We need those concepts so we don't run amok. The tree of life and the tree of knowledge are pure and divine, and they don't need any other addendums on there. And that's all he wrote. Tree of life and the tree of knowledge. That's what was in the garden. We're going to go back to the roots to support these trees. Discover what this is. What is the tree of life and tree of knowledge? Very little is said within the Torah and within the scriptures about tree of life. Tree of knowledge, tree of knowledge. So we're focusing on mainly just one here tonight. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's have some fun dissecting it. Let's get a little scientific with it. Can you all see the parts here? So we have above here Ein Sof, Ein Sof Hour. This is beyond our understanding. And again, pardon me if I'm redundant, if you're familiar with these things, but I don't know what level everybody's at. I don't know what you know, what you don't know. There's the parts of the soul, the self, the life source, the intuition, the intellect, the primal self. You can see breaking down into categories, the abyss, the veil between the material phenomena and the spiritual phenomena. The primal self must use intellect to see through the veil of illusion of reality, air quotes there, cross the abyss using intuition to connect with the life source and unite the divine self, your soul, to pierce the triple veil and become realized. That should be capitalized. Should not be lowercase. So again, what we have here is a roadmap. Every element here, every feature of it is vital. No matter what part you focus on, no matter what part you study, no matter what part you start to understand, whatever what draws you, whether it's Ein Sof and Ein Sof Hour, whether it's the triple veil, whether it's a particular Sephiroth, whether it's the categories and sections of the tree, any part that you study, any part that you spend time with is going to automatically help you grow because it is primordial. It's immune to spiritual, to material consciousness. Immune. So it's fun to just do that, to just break it down and see how it breaks down. The Kabbalists of ancient times, they're not inventing this. They're revealing it in its primordial form. They're simply accessing through the Akashic records, through their meditations, through their prayers. They're accessing the truth. They're going beyond the veil, and they're being able to produce it for us in ways that we can understand it. Now, obviously, in the divine realm, these things don't exist in these little figures and figurines and factoids and all that. This is distilled down for us so that we can understand with our stupid human brains. And if we're not enlightened, we are stupid humans. That's my affectionate term. So this is our opportunity. This is what is given to us, provided for us, to give it, to teach, and to receive. So this is kind of the breakdown of some of this. We get to have fun with all that.
Can you translate the Hebrew in the upper right?
I'm sorry, can you say again?
Can you translate the Hebrew in the upper right on the screen?
Upper right, Ein Sof and Ein Sof Hour.
Yeah, what do they mean?
Ein is the limitless, right? Okay, so Ein would be, let's say that it's hard to put in a term because it is termless, it is formless, it is limitless. So it's beyond that. So Ein is before infinity. Ein is nothingness. Ein Sof is when it first begins to transcend down into a knowable form. And I'm going to break this down for you very soon. I'm going to describe Ein and Ein Sof and Ein Sof Hour. And so this is the process of creation. At the bottom we have Malkuth, which is the kingdom, which is the worldly, earthly, material plane, the Maic existence. And at the top we have Ein, Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Hour. So it is the essence of the God power itself, of himself, distilling down to create the manifestation of the material plane, of the material reality. So this is the process it goes through. Now, Ein is the essence. I like that term, is the essence of the creative power. Ein Sof is when it first becomes to be a notion. And Ein Sof Hour is when it begins to take action, begins to distill. Make sense? That help? Okay. So, and then we go through, then we begin with Keter and going down through the tree, through the process of manifestation. This is the process of just that, process of manifestation. This is how creation goes, this is the stages of creation that goes through, that the creative power goes through to manifest the universe, to manifest all that we know. We have this roadmap so we can understand it, so we can build a relationship with it. So we can intellectualize it, so we can understand it, so we can appreciate it, so we can just honor it. The beauty is, in my view, is that while I myself am so drawn to Kabbalah and Tree of Life and these aspects of mysticism by my intellect, it satisfies my intellect. I'm greedy that way. And that's very materialistic. It's an attachment. Not healthy to have, any attachment. But you use this to access the next octave, which is the emotion, the feelings. Then you merge the two together. Then they become one powerful entity. Then you transcend that. Then you go beyond intellect and beyond emotion, and then it's pure. And then the beauty is that all you know doesn't even matter. Its intellectualism is useless to you. When I am in a quasi state, I won't say, I say quasi because I'm not a divine saint, I'm not realized. When I'm in a state of what I interpret to be Bao, which is a Sanskrit for, you could say, bliss or ecstasy, what's occurring is that it begins with knowing, the intellect. So grateful that I have the capacity to know, to understand, to even ponder and contemplate these magical mysteries, to just ponder them. And that divides into an appreciation. And the next thing I know, I'm weeping. And I just can't control it because I don't care about any of what I know. I care about what I feel. What I feel is just love, appreciation, humbled, so humbled by the divine. So those are just that for that. They teach us the process of this so we can appreciate it intellectually, enjoy the journey, enjoy all levels of the way we think and feel. What part does God not satisfy for us? You know, nothing is neglected. So I'm going to give you, again, just some breakdowns of this. This is more elements of the tree. We have the 3 pillars: severity, balance, and mercy. The 4 worlds: Azilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asirah, action. So there's a breakdowns of these. And so once again, we're getting the different layers. The more you understand, the more fun you'll have and the more deeper you will go. Everything that you learn expands on what you've already learned. It makes it more understandable. So it's not like I learned this so I can just move on to the next thing. All knowledge is like this. Whatever you're learning prepares you for what you learn next. And whatever you learn next expands on what you already know. It makes it more important, makes it deeper, makes it more profound. And that's the gorgeous. That's how gorgeous it is. Now, as we get into the breakdown of what the tree does, I'm giving you the different elements. I'm giving you summaries of all this. We're not going deep down that rabbit hole. Giving you the summaries, introducing it, which leads us to the lightning flash. Anybody familiar with the lightning flash? Good. Okay, so lightning flash is the spark, inception of creation. It is the logos. It is the moment. Now this, once again, can be translated in 2 ways. What I'm offering you here is the lightning flash in the subtle system, your conscious body, your energy body, the chakras, the Kundalini power. What we have in the lightning flash is the moment of realization and enlightenment. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree for 49 days. All of our great mystics spend some time, usually around 49 days, in the wilderness, in a cave, something like this. And yet it happens to them in a moment. There's the Buddha pretty much giving up, saying, you know what? I've mastered all the branches of yoga. I've mastered all of this. I've surpassed everyone, and I'm still not where I want to need to be. I'm still not there yet. Finally, it's like, you know what? I give up. I'm just going to sit in the water, and I'm not moving until it happens. I don't care. Kill me. I'll die of starvation. I'm not moving. Stubborn. And then it came, and it happened in an instant. But did it? The moment is an instant. And I can tell you, as a person that has experienced a full-blown Kundalini event, it's an instant. I'm not going to go into detail in this workshop. It's a different one. But I will tell you this. When my Kundalini exploded within my Sahasrara chakra in my crown, I could physically feel my consciousness expanding beyond me. Physically feel it. It was absolutely amazing and also painful in many ways. The lightning flash is referring to the creative power and what it goes through to create. And the flash is just that. This referring to the moment of realization, enlightenment, an event that rewires you. It completely destroys your consciousness and then rebuilds it in an instant to a higher octave. It has to destroy it because divine thought, your brain, your mind, my mind, we cannot handle that. It will cause it. It's like taking the entire power system and plug it into your 110 outlet. Things will catch fire. So lightning flash refers to that moment. What we're really trying to accomplish and achieve in a spiritual work with Tree of Life, to attain illumination, enlightenment. We're going to be going into some of that. Now, some of the tools within the Tree of Life. So this is one of the methods, one of the things we can focus on. If we want to use Tree of Life and the tarot aspect of it to attain a spiritual realization, then the lightning flash, what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to activate this event. We also have other tools. They're a little separate here. Gematria, Notaricon, Tamara. Now, I'm not going into detail for those things here, but that has to do with numbers and all kinds of ways to use magical phrases, magical names, and I think many people are here aware of them. And these are powerful things that we can use to once again expand our capacity to know of ourselves. Then we have the Tetragrammaton, which I don't like the Greek name, is a Greek or Latin. And we have a little figure here. What I'm sharing with you is, once again, the many layers, the many tools that lie within this single system. As I mentioned, the challenge of presenting this, putting this together, was to choose what not to include, because I'm scratching the surface with you here. It's very hard to decide. I mean, I 10 slides, then I went 12, then I went 19. I'm like, when am I going to stop? Well, let's go ahead and pause for a moment. Let's go ahead and wrap up Tree of Life here. As I mentioned to you, no matter what part of the tree you study or spend time with, it will automatically, just by associating with it, have an influence on you, rewire you, whether you understand it or just spend time, just associate with it. Anyway, it's going to rewire you because it is magical. It has a divine source, not a material source. So anytime you spend time with it, it's going to have an effect on you. We're going to do an exercise. What I would like to offer you is, as I said earlier, why? What's your intention? What would you want to know, Tree of Life here? What did you show up here for? What piqued your interest about that? Trust that your higher consciousness, your higher self, your more pure raw consciousness had an intention that your material, worldly self doesn't quite know. You have intuition, you have an instinct. I'm drawn to that. I don't know why, but I am. Get to know the why. What do you want to know? Maybe you know. Maybe you came here thinking, I want to know because I want to know for this reason. Maybe you don't know. I'd like you to spend some time thinking about why you wanted to learn about Tree of Life, what you wanted to get out of it, what you want the takeaway to be for you personally, which will be unique to you. So we'll give you that thought. Will you think about that a little as we go on? We'll get back to that. So now we get into the tarot. 22 major cards. Sound familiar, right? 22 the Hebrew alphabet, 22 paths. Then we have 56 within the suit, within the minor arcana, and there's 78 cards. 56 is the suits. So because it creates 78. These are perfect numbers. So it's not random. It's so the 56 are the remaining cards. Those are the minor arcana. The major arcana is 22. The minor arcana are 56. I'm sorry?
So there are 78 tarot.
78 total cards. Yes. There are 22 major arcana, 56 minor arcana. Okay. We will. We're gonna break down the tarot a little bit more. Yeah, that's what we're getting into now. Yeah, we're just getting into the introduction of it. So again, what I'm showing you here is the integration. It's not like tarot was adapted to Tree of Life. Tarot was created as a pictorial version of Tree of Life, as I mentioned earlier. So this is how it all fits together. So this is, see, now I've removed the Hebrew and Kabbalistic parts of that, and now we can remain with just the tarot. So you can see the numerical values, the suits, the aces, the major arcana, all the branches, and all the Sephiroth have the suits and the minor arcana, right? So once again, what we have here is we have ancient Kabbalists and 13th century Kabbalists distilling Tree of Life and Kabbalah into a pictorial version for the various reasons. This evolves into, now I found this like yesterday, I was kind of happy to find this. It usually just says Rider Waite, and Smith isn't even there. So now it is. So I found one deck that has her name, which should have only been, it should have been Waite Smith. It should have been those two names. Rider is just, like I said, just a production. It's like Milton Bradley. That's who that was at the time. And so this gets evolved into the cards. It evolves into this. So this is what we're getting. Again, we're using the Rider Waite Smith deck because it is formula. Arthur E. Waite is a qualified Kabbalist and mystic, Hermetic scientist. His accuracy, there is not one, well, let's go ahead and go to the card images. There is not one single detail on any card that does not have an actual meaning to it, a purpose of being there. And no matter, and just like in the tree, no matter what you study, the hand, the way that it's positioned, this little awning in the background, everything that's in the cups, every detail is an element that you can meditate on and get something from in your own way. It has its general meaning that's applicable. Then you have your own interpretation of that as well. And it refines each other. It's not a mistake. So what we have here is within the tarot deck and within the tree of life, the human condition, the entire human condition, the spectrum of human aspects, the stages of human life. And I'm not just talking about birth and childhood and adolescence, etc. I'm talking about love, death, work, sorrow, triumph, the human condition, the human spectrum, the spectrum of human experience. There's a limited amount of that. There's octaves of them. Love is one, for example, but there's many octaves. I love my dog, I love pizza, I love my wife, I love my children, etc. Many octaves, but it's still love. So what the tarot is the soul's journey from the material realm to the divine realm, to have unity. We have here with the Fool. What is the Fool doing? He's got not a care in the world. He's got his kit bag behind over his shoulder and walking off a cliff, smiling, not even looking where he's going, with a dog nipping at his heels, playfully. He's walking off into the wild blue yonder. He's beginning his journey. His journey to go through the human experience with purpose and intention. And he doesn't know it yet. Like all of us, we start off with our life and we're all begin our journey. We're not even sure what we're looking for. We're looking for something. And then at some point, as spiritual people, we realize, I'm not satisfied with this material world. There's something missing from it. I need something more. We begin our journey. We encounter different personalities and different events along the way. We gain from them what we can. The magician, for example, is the very first card he encounters. And the magician has the magical elements on his table, the sword, the wand, the cup, the pentacle. Now, with every personality that the Fool meets along his journey, he evolves, he grows to an ultimate destination, which is the world in the major arcana, which is transcendence, enlightenment, illumination. So what it is, as the tree of life is, a roadmap of the human condition. Everything you need to know, everything you can experience as a human being is contained within these cards, within this path. Tarot in the tree, 3-weight, is a Hermetic scientist and Kabbalist and mystic, turn of the century, very reputable, very knowledgeable, wonderful man. And he is not an artist, though. So he hires Pamela Coleman, who's also a mystic, very profound, wonderful artist, and he directs her on what to create and how to create, not in exact detail. He gives her the concepts, and then with her meditation and with her spiritual work, she designs them and they refine them and work and they collaborate together. That's what created it. I have in the middle, there's the Thoth deck, which is the Aleister Crowley deck. In my view, these are the only two reliable decks that I can use. They are true to the mystical formula. They're true to Kabbalah. Nothing else is. There's versions of them, but I want 100%. And again, as I mentioned, absolutely every tiny pencil mark within a tarot card of the Rider-Waite deck, Rider-Waite-Smith deck, has a purpose that's directly related to the tree of life and Kabbalah, directly, that you can use. I don't care what you meditate on, any tiny detail, meditate on that, you'll go down that rabbit hole, you'll get something out of it. You'll grow. You don't know what you're going to find. That's the mystery. That's the mystery of it. So, as again, I can only support those two decks. I'm not supporting any other forms of this. I don't look at tarot as a form of prognostication. It does that, and I do some of that along with my whole life readings as well. But that's not my primary goal. And I tell people up front when they buy readings from me, which are like 16, 17 pages long, that if you're looking for fortune telling, I'm the wrong guy. I'm going to give you a manual for spiritual development, to expand your consciousness, to develop from where you are to become something more well-rounded spiritually. That's what its purpose is. So it's cute to have the puppy dog deck, but I don't really see any value in that. So I'm having a little fun at their expense. Spiritual development and training services. Just like a fitness trainer, I teach and coach my students how to become spiritually fit and healthy, how to meditate, spiritual practices and exercises, mystical modalities like tarot, the I Ching, astrology, numerology, and Kabbalah, spiritual study, spiritual lifestyle. Private and customized training designed to fit your spiritual goals, path or religion? Don't know which path to follow? Join me for a free consultation to discuss your spiritual goals and aspirations, and I will help design a course of study, training, and practice for you. Whether you seek enlightenment, an afterlife, or psychic and intuitive abilities, sample the power of prayer, church, meditation, astral travel, or anything your spirit yearns for. Expand your mind, expand your spirit. Visit scottspacky.com for more information. Your illumination awaits. Are you ready? Two systems in one. Oh, excuse me. So we're going full circle now. They're not separate from one another. You can use them separately and get the same goal, or you can combine them to enhance the projects that you're on. You can't go wrong, whether you're using the Tree of Life individually or using the Tarot individually. You're going to get the same results if you use them properly. Then when you combine them, you're just getting more bang for your buck. I mean, you're just getting more octaves and more time, more power from it. Stage of consciousness. Tree climbing and building your tree fort. Material, Mike, consciousness, where we live within the world and deal with our worldly matters and worldly issues and worldly concerns. Money, health, house, all these kind of material things. Philosophical, start to evolve a little bit on our journey. Get a little bit wider range, wider spectrum. Existential, start to get a little bit ethereal. Moving on to mystical, the mysteries of things, what we don't understand. Spiritual, and I don't know why, synonymous with divine. Now, in an Eastern aspect and understanding and definition, spiritual for me is not just a concept. It's a completely separate notion from materialness, from materiality. We cannot know it. We do not know it. We can develop our spirituality, but we cannot be truly spiritual. We are not divine. We are not perfect. We are still mired within the material phenomena. We have a divine soul that's perfect and unblemished, but it's shrouded in our material selves. The stages of consciousness are to permeate, to go through those and attain union with these other states of being. The types of realization, illumination, become aware. That is an illumined state. It's not perfected necessarily, but it's definitely far up there. Liberation, you transcend. You're no longer bound by the material phenomena. That's the Buddha path. The Ashtanga Yoga path, liberation. You no longer reincarnate. You're no longer taking life in the material realm at all. But you're not one with the divine either. You cease to exist. Your soul exists eternally, as it always does. But you have no awareness. Your mind and your identity is dissolved. You exist in a pure state of just soul. That's what liberation is. Enlightenment and self-realization are the same thing. So the enlightenment and liberation and self-realization states, they're all the same thing. You have transcended material reality. You're no longer a participant in it anymore, and that's eternal. Yet, the theory here is that you have no awareness of this. You just are. You're one with everything. Magic hot dog vendor. You're one with everything, but you have no awareness or perception of this. No more suffering, as the Buddha said, but there's also no joy or bliss either. I'm not down for that. Life is hard. I want bliss. What do you say? Want the bliss? So the types of realization, spiritual and then divination, union with the divine. Now, this does not mean, I'm not implying that you become God, anything like that. The theory here is that when you attain divination, you become divinized. That means that your material consciousness and body get completely destroyed and rebuilt to a divine sense. So you're not God, but you share and experience the same bliss and knowledge and awareness of God. None of God's powers, you're not God at all, but you share all the best parts, none of the work, none of the responsibilities. I don't want to be God. I don't want to run this place. This place is nuts. So divination is to attain the highest union with the divine. Any questions?
Trinities. And the Trinities are defined by 3 different letters,
Right.
which I think if you combine them, create a word. And I'd be curious as to what that word was. Let's say in some Trinity, associated with the 3 different tarot cards associated with each of those paths on that Trinity. Would you be able to go into one Trinity like that?
Sure.
So it would be interesting to combine the tarot cards meaning in that triangle with what that word would be in Hebrew to see the correlation.
I encourage just that. That's a Kabbalistic exercise. That is a tree of life work. So that's the path work. To take a section, analyze it, meditate on it, be intimate with it, develop your relationship with it in any way that you want. Any of the 3, whether it's the word, whether it's the letters, whether it's the value, all that. And so again, it has its meaning. It has the definition of each thing, Kether being the crown, Malkuth being the kingdom, and yet it's also open to interpretation. So it is specifically, it means something that's predetermined, but it also is open to interpretation. And so the work that you do to create a word through Tamura, through Notarikon, through Gematria, those magical phrases, those magical names, and etc., those are exactly that. No matter what you're working with, you're going to be developing your consciousness. The way you're working with it, it's going to take you on a journey.
Could you go through with us on one triangle?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think I'm going to do a triangle. But what we will do, what I plan to do is just that. No, as a matter of fact, the next slide is tree climbing. So what I was going to suggest is just that. Let's pick a spot. Let's pick a Sephiroth or a branch. And let's use that, again, as I mentioned earlier, about developing your intention. Have any of you spent time when I talk about intention, developing your intention? Why you want to know this? Why you want to know Tree of Life? Why you want to know Kabbalah? What can you get at? What's your intention? Hopefully spend some time with that. And so we can indeed. We can do this one of 2 ways. Let me go to the next one. That's what we're going to do now with tree climbing. We're going to give an example of how to use the tree for just that. Now, what you described is a section, and you can do that. You can use a section. You can use one of the layers, one of the sections, one Sephiroth, one branch. So, for example, I don't want to tell you what is you want, what your intention is. It has to be your own intention. What are you trying to figure out right now in your life? Today, is it a problem with the car, problem with finances? Is there some kind of change? There's something you want to develop, something you want to improve, whether it's your diet, your fitness, being able to meditate, being able to pray, whatever. Think about what your intention is, what your goal is. Certainly, we want to maybe consider something more lofty, some kind of spiritual understanding to develop ourselves to become more spiritual, more conscious, more aware. That's certainly admirable. But the point is that anything you pick, whether it's material or spiritual, is to pick a spot. Pick any point in the tree and meditate on that. Now, you can pick it randomly, pick a Sephiroth, you can close your eyes and just point. And then you have this idea, your intention in your head. I want to lose weight. I want to become smarter. I want to develop this skill. Close your eyes and pick a random spot. And then meditate on that. Analyze it, understand it, define it. What is the tarot card that associates with that? What is the color? What is the Hebrew letter? What is the value of it? Dive into that rabbit hole and then see how that relates to you. And I guarantee you, not that I have anything to give back to you, but I guarantee you, you will be surprised. You will, as you go through this, be realizing, oh my God, like how did this thing know what to say to me? How did it know these words fit perfectly what I'm thinking about? Yes.
The points have names and you have relationships to them. So you put your own
Correct.
awareness into
Correct.
it. And that's what you've been trying to say, I think. in a
Correct.
way. And I can appreciate that now because I was at first looking for some, specific interest.
Yeah, you want the facts and the details. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
I want an association between the tarot and the Kabbalah that I can actually say this is the association, But what you're seemingly doing is you're saying the association is your own. Everybody has their own.
Right, but if I may elaborate on that. So it's both. Again, again, on my screen, it's like I got HD over here. So it's hard to see. But again, you have the path, the tarot card, the Hebrew letter, all this information. Now, it doesn't matter which part you pick, which one you focus on. The tarot card, and again, same as I mentioned about the tarot cards themselves. Pick any part of it. What is the magician holding? What about what's on his head? He's wearing a small crown. He's wearing something on his head. What about his feet? What about the robe that he's wearing? What about the rope that ties his robe? It all has a meaning to it. And when you dive deep, when you start to understand, when you study the mystical scholars that write these things down, such as myself that's in the books that I'm going to share with you, that it breaks it all down for you. And indeed, you're going this journey and you're realizing, wow, how does this thing know what I needed to hear? How does it know to answer my question when I have this own personal kind of question? And it's the same for everybody. So it is a very customizable experience. And again, if I suggest, as I mentioned earlier, think about your intention. Has anybody thought of an intention, what you want to know Kabbalah for, Tree of Life for? I do it all the time. It doesn't matter what comes up. Indeed. Anything that's on your mind today, focus on, and again, I can and do. I can do this with the I Ching, any of the 56 hexagrams of the I Ching, any of the 78 tarot cards, any tree or branch of the Tree of Life, any Hebrew letter, anything that I want that has a divine origin. Because it's perfect and unblemished. I'm not perfect, I'm blemished. But those things are pure, they're primordial, they're immune to my material objective views, subjective views. They're immune to my desires, they're immune to my attachments. So therefore, whichever element you choose, trust your instincts, have an issue, have a question, blindly point or be drawn to a point in the tree. And whether you're drawn to the Sephiroth or a branch or the tarot card that represents it, they're all doing the same thing. They're all different layers. So once again, if we choose a path, a branch, I like to say branch because it's the tree. They're usually referred to as paths. We choose a branch on the tree. Maybe what you're drawn to when your eyes first go to it is the Hebrew letter. Maybe it's the number. Maybe it's the tarot card. Whatever it may be. I'm sorry, Bubby, yes?
My question is,
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you, Bubby. Say it again?
in typical Jewish custom
Yes.
from some particular Jewish societies and cultures, my initial response is to want to argue with you.
Do you want to argue?
Elderly gentle lady, Bubby, said the intention she was feeling was argumentative. When I asked her if she wanted to argue, she said yes, which caused a big laugh throughout the room. I then suggest we use the topic and concept of arguing as an exercise with the tree. And everyone agreed.
Yes,
About?
I don't know yet.
Okay,
Wanna
well,
argue?
let's use that. Let's use argue. Now, we all have a time where we want to argue with something. Sometimes we just wake up and feel like being argumentative, right? Maybe we have a point to make. But again, I have days where I just feel like maybe being argumentative. And I know some people feel that way towards me. So let's use the concept, the topic of being argumentative, of having an argument. All right? So let's use this in an effort to climb the tree. Kind of hard to see with the blurry here. Let's be drawn to something. I got to tell you. That's kind of where I was going. Gabora or Hode. So let's do that. I don't have my glasses.
You can argue about it.
You want to debate it? Which one is it going to be? And I don't know if people can hear me online too well. So what we're talking about, in case you can't hear everybody here that's live, is that what I'm being asked is to do just that, which is where this was going. That's the reason the slide is here. Is tree climbing was to give this exercise, to give you a sample of how to meditate and use the tree. So what you want to do is this. Let's use Gebura, okay? Now we're using the concept of being argumentative, or not, of argument, okay? Let's distill it down to argument. Now, close your eyes. No, I'm sorry. Leave your eyes open. Leave your eyes open. Yes. It is the path of severity. It's on the pillar of the severity. It is masculine. It has power, strength, and discipline, all these concepts. Now you can see as we talk about these key words, how these filter into and support this concept of being of an argument, right? So let's even look at the color. It's red. It's red. It's right below Bina. So it's red. So then again, so here we randomly picked, and we have argument, which is something assertive, rather maybe even aggressive. We have the red color, which evokes the same kind of emotions, right? So we're seeing the connections here. We're seeing the keywords. We're seeing all these things tying together. Now, we're in a group, so it's hard to become intimate with this. But again, if you now, I keep my tree on my phone too. I keep it in my gallery, so I'll bring it up. Geburah, strength. It is the 4 5s. It is the planet of Mars, which is known for aggression. So we can see, once again, that we randomly pick this concept and randomly pick this particular Sephiroth. And it's all tying together. So we can meditate with this. Mars is known as the planet of aggression. I'm kind of simplifying. The 4 5s. The 5s within the deck. Now, we don't have one in front of us. 5 is, we have the 4 elements. We have the 4 spatial dimensions. So 4 is when the creative source really manifests the material plane. That's when things become solid, become integral, become legit, become real. 5 is another octave of that. So it is when it becomes even more dense. I don't mean dense as in stupid, obviously. I mean dense as in thick, as in stable, stability.
So it's like going from a square to a cube. It's like going from a square to a cube.
Exactly. Well, yes, square to a cube. Yes, thank you. Yes, square to a cube. That's exactly what it is. Yes. 4 is the square. That is its shape. That's its sacred geometry. And 5 is the cube. So yes, the cube has.
Coming up with these numbers? Where are you coming up?
The Sephiroth is 5. Geburah, strength, is what it means in English. It is represented by the 4 5s in the tarot deck, and it's represented by the planet Mars. And you can see it's red. Now, when I'm meditating with the tree, I don't just look at the Sephiroth. I'm looking at the branches that are connecting to it. And this one's got a lot. We've got the hangman. We've got mem. We've got justice. We've got lamed. We've got strength. We've got teth going towards the center of the tree. We've got the chariot traveling up and down. So I'm not just looking at the branches that are connected to Geburah. Those paths and those branches travel both ways. They don't just go out. They also come back. So what are they taking from? What are they receiving from the Sephiroth that's above, below, or on the side of it? So we have all these elements that we get to take into account. Now, it can become infinite, but obviously it's all interconnected. But ultimately, so again, Geburah is connected with the branch of Tet, serpent. It connects all the way across to Chesed, which is mercy. It's opposite. So now we have argument. And let's remember to have some temperance and some kindness and some sensitivity when we're arguing. So we have these different factors that we can all consider. So no matter what you're meditating on, no matter what concept you're contemplating, look around, look in the Sephiroth, look in the branch that you're drawn to, and let it lead you somewhere.
What is the tarot card between Geburah and Chesed?
It's strength. The tarot card is strength. So the branch is Teth, serpent, is the letter Teth, serpent. The astrological sign is Leo, which is on the card, and then it's the card of strength of the major arcana.
Okay, so can you talk about that tarot card, Chesed?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that's actually what I was instinctively wanting to do. Strength, again, this is an exercise, okay? So strength is just that. True strength is not just the ability to be aggressive or have power, but how to use it properly and how and when not to use it. So that's right. So when we have the opposite sides of the tree with Chesed, and we have the polar opposites, so we see that connecting them is strength. So true strength is the ability to restrain, to contain, to intelligently apply it. So strength is not just about power. It's certainly not about raw power. It's about wisdom. It's about intellect. It's about reason. It's about how to use it and when to use it and how to meter it out. So now you see we're covering a lot of ground. Now, technically, what can't you understand? Yeah.
So say I'm your client. I'm sitting here and all that.
I can do that, and I do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
So can we just
Most people want to do a reading.
So how do you work with a client?
I'm saying that one of the meditation. I'm sorry. I know, wasn't I doing that with this meditation we're just doing?
No, you're just
Do you-
talking concepts. We're just like a concept.
Okay, so you want to close your eyes and do meditation?
No, we want to see it.
So you want to see an actual card? Let's go.
Yes.
And use it in the sense like
All right.
a tree card.
Yeah, because
All
we're
right.
a Jewish community where
All right.
we learn
Can
a
we
lot about
can we use this slide and use the cards that are on this slide? Okay. So what you'd like to do then is you'd like to have a breakdown of what one of these cards mean with the images and with the concepts that are within the card.
Yes. And then
Correct?
maybe you can apply it to
I want to know how it applies.
And then,
Wait, one at a time. One at a time.
well, also to the tree of life.
I'm lost. So I get.
We're already arguing.
See what you started?
Scott, I think I've distilled what you're asking. Looking at
I agree.
Looking at one of the cards, looking at that first, and really getting into it, seeing if you can apply it to what we know about the tree, and then after that, because that's both pictorial and intellectual, and then let's take something like that. How do we apply it? Okay.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
like this card, like this card. This card is a hermit, right?
Yes, the hermit.
So let's talk about hermits.
You want to do the hangman?
Hermit is fine too.
You pick.
Let's do hangman.
You pick.
Let's do hangman.
You pick. And then you can show us, okay,
All right.
this is how you work on the triangle.
So you want me to break down the image of the hangman, and
Yeah.
then you want to see how it refers to or how it enhances or interacts with the tree.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Maybe not. Just let's begin. Let's begin with a card.
all right. Hold on. All right. Now, you might enjoy the fact that hangman, I'm sorry, we're doing the hangman, happens to be the branch that connects Geburah to Hod, the Sephiroth we chose. So we look at this concept. He is technically suspended upside down from 1 foot, from a T, from a Tao. Okay? He is wearing red tights that represent his sublimation of desires. He is the captain of his desires. He's not subjected to them. He has them contained. He's in blue, is his tunic, which shows that he has a more open consciousness. It's more evolved. His arms are folded neatly behind his back, and he's in a perfect poised pose, a yoga pose. So hanging upside down, he is in complete measure and control. Passerbys look at him and think, what a freak, what a weirdo. He looks at them and thinks the exact same thing. Look at the world, the life that you're living. I'm upside down. You're upside down. He has the halo, the illumination coming out of his mind, coming out of his consciousness. Once again, everything about this, even the foliage coming off of the Tao, the tree. Yeah, the letter T, the Tao. So the foliage shows that it's vibrant and alive. So this individual, the figure 4, exactly. So now you see, no matter what you get out, you're getting more and more layers. Every element has this aspect to it.
Well, there's the red and the blue that bring him over here.
That's right. That's right. So now you're seeing the relationship. So already you see, keep going. Yes, keep going. Now you're seeing it. See, as you're analyzing, as you're dissecting yourself, as you're just observing, you're seeing the relationships. Sure, those represent as well. That's how you're seeing it. Yes. They have their own meanings. They're also unified together. You say Hod?
You said this is the
Yes, it is the path between Geber and Hod. Yes. That's right. So again, what we do is this. Hold on. So if Hod is splendor, Geber is strength. No, the hangman is in between. The hangman is the branch between them. So we use the hangman, we use the branch to travel between the two, back and forth, between splendor and strength, to gain splendor in our strength and to use strength in our splendor, to have strength in our splendor, to have splendor within our strength, right? So again, the hangman and the branch of mem, which is water, which is flowing between the two. It's a current that flows both ways. Whether you're sailing from or sailing to, it's a current. Choose which way you want to flow along this water river of mem. The hangman represents this. So now we see the relationship between the two. We're not confined to one. It's as soon as we think about one, we can automatically think about the other and how they complement each other, enhance each other. That's what you're looking for? Is this expanding more? Okay, so now you see, again, this is literally a meditation. What you would do, if you would like to, is I sit in my meditation room. It's a very quiet sanctuary that I have in my home, and I might pick, as we're doing here as an example, I might seem random, but I'm trusting my intuition. I'm drawn to that for whatever reason. I'm led to it by conversation, by whatever led me there, I'm led to that. So I might sit in my little sanctuary space and meditate on that and these concepts, the colors, the image, the meanings of, and just wonder about them. Just wonder. And even if what you're wondering is, I don't know what to wonder, you're wondering. You're doing the exercise. You're doing the work. Yes?
I'm just wondering, I'm wondering.
You're wondering. Here you go. It's working.
Why there isn't a lot of stuff written about the Tarot and the Tree of Life and the relationship.
Why is there not?
Yes.
There is.
Where?
I've been studying all my life.
Where is it?
Bookstores, online. I mean, here's what's going to happen next. All right, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you, that's a great question, and thank you. We're going to get to a little upselling here. So here we have a tarot workbook and a Kabbalah workbook by yours truly. As I mentioned to you, I gave my first workshops on this back in 2005. These are the workbooks that I use. They've been modified a little bit and updated a little bit along the way, but they were pretty good when they started out, so I didn't need to do much. So I gave tarot workshops and Kabbalah workshops. Then but to me, and it says right in the books, you can buy them separately. If all you want is tarot books, that's fine. Many people do. I sell a lot of those copies to people that are interested in tarot. A lot of people that are interested in the Kabbalah. But typically, most students, Chloe can vouch for this, she's online with us. I think you started with Kabbalah, did you not? Started with Kabbalah, and then she right away said, I got the tarot book because I referred to it. I'm not selling it. I'm not saying you need them both. I'm saying, by the way, I'm speaking, referring to the tarot relationship with Kabbalah. So when you're getting the Kabbalah workbook, you end up being like, you know what? If I want to know the whole thing, I better get the tarot workbook too. Same with tarot workbook. I'm referring to and mentioning that it's intertwined with Kabbalah, and I'm explaining how. So when people get the tarot book, then they do the same thing. And it leads them to the Kabbalah book. But what I've done tonight, now you see there's two covers here. What I've done tonight, and if I may show you, for the first time for this workshop in this sanctuary place, I've combined them for the first time since 2005. I wrote these in 2005. I modified them a couple times, make them a little bit polished, a little bit better. And tonight, for this workshop, I just had these printed and produced and shipped for this workshop for anybody that wants them. Tarot and Tree of Life, the workbook, the tarot workbook is in the front. There's a little table of contents that says Tarot, a symbolic exploration of mind and spirit, page 0. The bridge exists between. Then Kabbalah, a mystical journey on Tree of Life. So, as any book in English, you turn from left to right and you read the book. There's the tarot workbook. It begins here. Same as it's been. And it covers the entire 78 cards, tells you how to do readings and how to use it for spiritual development. Then, this is the limited edition English-Hebrew format. Turn it this way, same cover, now you're opening the other way. Now you have the Kabbalah book, so it's working backwards to the English version.
Really?
You follow me?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yes, hangman.
Hangman, and we were talking about the possibilities, and I
Woohoo!
changed the subject, and I felt abandoned.
Abandoned. So, if I may say that for those who may not heard online, Bubby, my cherished Bubby that's here, she was the one that introduced this concept of argument, and we rolled with that, and she had her own personal experience, and it was that you had a little meditation. You had your own little journey there, correct? but it was there. And you had a feeling of abandonment.
Yes, the subject from leaving me hanging to leaving, and then I'm like, woo, I'm abandoned.
You're the hangman.
Hang up on me, darling.
And you know, and this may be the applicable lesson that we might be able to use. And I'm not trying to shortchange you in any way. I'm trying to address as many people as I possibly can, trying to stay on track myself. So, and that's what I love about being in this group, because I know you guys would challenge me, and you are. Example that just came to mind. When I got my Master Alchemy certificate from Flamel College, which was a real challenge. I had done some college course and all that. This was way more fascinating, way more challenging. And they sent me my certificate in the mail. It said Scott Apicki. They spelled my name wrong. And so I called him up and I said, this is great. Thanks for sending my certificate. And I got passwords for alchemist things in Prague, all this great stuff. And I called him up and they said, oh, we're so sorry. We misspelled your name. We'll get another one right out to you. And they sent a new one to me. It had the same spelling name. Okay? And I'm thinking, do I want to make a fuss about this? I kind of do. But at the same time, I thought, no, Scott, this is an opportunity in humility. This does not identify you. And it happened twice now, so this is an opportunity. So now, as I have this on display in my house, in a little space in my alchemy cabinet, I see my misspelled name and I cherish it, because it reminds me what my true identity is not about that name or anything else. And it reminds me at a moment where I could have been argumentative and assertive, or I could just let it go. So I chose to let it go. I chose to be the hangman.
So you're telling me to be philosophical about my feeling abandoned.
I'm not telling you anything.
But you're saying
I'm encouraging it.
I'm good at saying the words.
But we will make every exception for you. If you have a specific question, are we wrapping up? Yeah. So, all right, then, and I am on my last slide, by the way.
Yeah, I just want to add in response to Lila's question about this. Where is this? Why didn't I find it? When I travel around the world as a mystic and as an underground stream sailor, again, I get introduced to and I get to interact with people. We all speak the same language. So it's not a codified mystery that tarot and Kabbalah and these things are intertwined together. We all know this very comfortably, so we speak of it generally. And so once again, if you want a resource, I can't tell you this enough. This small book breaks it all down. It's in color. It has images. Breaks down every card, every tree, every Sephiroth. Breaks down not only what it is, but teaches you Tamara, Notarikon, Gematria. Teaches you how to use them and apply, and teaches meditate. There's a chapter in there called Climb the Tree. Teach you how to meditate. And the colorful tree of life that I have in there, it's all in here too. It's all in here too. Not only that, but there's a whole, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I'm not going to argue with you.
I hope you do. Seriously,
Did I handle the pushing a little gracefully and respectfully for you?
not quite enough.
What could I do better? What could I have done better?
What can you do then?
Now you're arguing with him. Hey, pick your battles here. Come on.
So I adore him also, but of the spiritual path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We take especially mysticism. It's taken so seriously. You got to have fun. I mean, that's it. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. All right. That's our final words. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening to me, and thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you, those online. I'm going to go ahead and sign off to you too. Okay? Thank you very much for being here, you guys.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Let's take a brief pause so I can offer you something. The Cosmic Consciousness book series are workbooks made for your spiritual development and growth. Each workbook gives you the true knowledge, the actual origins, and step-by-step instructions and exercises to put your spiritual systems into practice. They are detailed, have illustrations, and are excellent for the beginner as well as the adept. There are nearly a dozen workbooks available in print and in ebooks. Cosmic Consciousness Volume 1 teaches you the science and the meta-science of how consciousness works and how to elevate it. As above, so below, the universe and beyond. A journey through the origins of the universe, physics and metaphysics. The complete philosophy of yoga, a path to higher consciousness. The comprehensive guide to all 8 branches of Ashtanga Yoga, Tantra Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. This complete guide includes step-by-step illustrated instructions for yoga asanas, lifestyle, meditations, and how to attain the holy grail of consciousness, self, soul, spiritual, and divine realization. Tarot, a symbolic exploration of mind and spirit, covers the true origins of tarot as a pictorial version of Kabbalah's Tree of Life and includes detailed interpretation of all 78 of the major and minor arcana cards, readings and how to use tarot as it was originally intended, a device for your spiritual development. Kabbalah, a mystical journey on the Tree of Life, a full color workbook with pull-out sheets for easy reference as you learn the true origins and practical use for the Tree of Life as a roadmap for spiritual illumination and manifestation. Tarot and the Tree of Life, special limited edition. This workbook combines both the Tarot and Tree of Life workbooks into a single volume with an added section called The Bridge. This brand new limited edition has a unique English format for Tarot and Hebrew format for the Tree. It is fully illustrated in full color. Other workbooks in the Cosmic Consciousness series include Alchemy, Numerology with Sacred Geometry, Tao and Zen with the I Ching, The True Origins and Paths of the World's Religions, Nature Religions, and Wicca, Ceremonial Magic and Hermetic Science, and others. To quote Teilhard de Chardin, I am not a human being having a spiritual experience. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. Whether you are an advanced student of spiritual work or a beginner, these small but thorough workbooks will provide you all that is needed to have a more fulfilling spiritual experience. Why wait? You've waited long enough. For details, samples, and to order, go to life-mind.com. That's life-mind.com. Until next time, leave your third eye open. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspacky.com and life-mind.com.
Ocean collide